We ran until our lungs burned. My sister's hand was slick with sweat in mine, her fingers digging into my palm like she thought letting go meant dying. Behind us, footsteps crunched through fallen leaves, slower than ours, but steady, relentless. "Don't look back," Emma gasped, her voice thin and breaking. But I did. Through the maze of pine trees, I caught a flash of his jacket, dark blue, worn at the edges, and his face. God, his face! Not angry, not twisted with malice like the strangers in the stories Mom told us. Sad. He looked sad. "Please," he called out. His voice wasn't loud. It was almost gentle. "Wait!" We didn't wait. We crashed through the underbrush until we found the trail, then the parking lot, then Mom's car. We never told her why we were crying. That was 8 years ago. Yesterday, I saw his picture taped to the bulletin board outside the guidance counselor's office, and no one at school seemed surprised to see it there. I stood frozen in the hallway, backpack sliding off my shoulder. The picture was grainy, printed on regular copy paper, but it was him, same dark blue jacket, same tired eyes. Beneath the photo, bold letters spelled out, "In Memoriam, Mr. David Chen, 1978, 2024. My throat closed. Mr. Chen? A teacher? Here? Students flowed past me like water around a stone, not even glancing at the memorial. A freshman girl stopped to read it, frowned sadly, then kept walking. Like this was normal. Like everyone knew. Except me. "Katie?" Emma's voice made me jump. She was standing 3 feet away, face pale. "You see it too?" I nodded, unable to speak. "That's..." She swallowed hard. "That's him, from the forest." I was 10. Emma was 13. We'd begged Mom to let us hike the Pine Ridge Trail alone, just the two of us, like big kids. She'd finally agreed, but only because it was broad daylight and the trail was popular. We made it 2 miles in before we got distracted by a side path. "It's just a little detour," Emma said, her eyes bright with adventure. "Come on, Katie, don't be boring." So we went. Deeper. Farther from the marked trail than we'd ever been. That's when we saw him. He was crouched near a fallen log, doing something with his hands we couldn't quite see. When he looked up and spotted us, he stood slowly. "Hey," he said, not threatening, just there. "You two shouldn't be this far off the trail." Emma grabbed my wrist. "We're leaving." "But wait," he took a step forward. "It's not safe. There's..." But Emma was already pulling me back the way we'd come, and when I glanced over my shoulder, when I saw him following us, something primal kicked in. We ran. "Why is his picture here?" I asked Emma between classes, cornering her by the lockers. She bit her lip. "I don't know." "You're lying." "I'm not." Your face does this thing when you lie. You always bite your lip." She looked away. "Fine, I heard something. Last week, before you saw the memorial." My stomach dropped. "What did you hear?" "Sarah Martinez, you know the senior? She said Mr. Chen used to volunteer at the school. Before he died, he ran some kind of outdoor program." "Outdoor program?" I repeated slowly.
"Yeah, like teaching kids about nature, hiking safety, that kind of thing." Emma's voice got quieter. "Katie, what if he wasn't chasing us that day?" Now that Emma had planted the seed, the memory started reshaping itself. I remembered his voice again. Not angry, not predatory. "It's not safe. There's what?" And his hands, when he'd been crouched by that log. He hadn't been hiding something. He'd been holding something. Writing something? And when we'd run, he'd followed, yes, but slowly. Like someone trying not to scare a wounded animal. Like someone who knew that running too fast would only make us run faster. "Katie!" he'd called. Not a stranger's voice. Somehow he'd known my name. How did he know my name? I found Miss Reeves after 7th period. She'd been teaching biology at our school for 20 years, and if anyone knew about outdoor programs, it would be her. "Mr. Chen?" She smiled sadly when I asked. David was a wonderful man. He volunteered here every spring, teaching wilderness safety to middle schoolers. Her voice caught. He was supposed to come back this year. What happened to him? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. Heart attack. Very sudden. He was only 46. She paused. Did you know him? I shook my head too quickly. No, I saw the memorial. Miss Reeves studied me for a long moment. He kept detailed records, of every hike he supervised, every student he worked with, almost obsessive about safety. She tilted her head. He lost someone once, a long time ago. I think that's why he was so careful. Lost someone. The words echoed in my head all through 8th period. I confronted Emma in her car after school. You knew who he was before yesterday. She gripped the steering wheel, knuckles white. Katie, when did you find out? Silence. Then, sophomore year. I was in the wilderness safety program. He was the volunteer instructor. I recognized him immediately. And you didn't tell me? I was terrified. Emma's eyes filled with tears. What was I supposed to say? Hey, Katie, remember that man we ran from like he was a serial killer? Turns out he's actually really nice and teaches kids about hiking. I felt like a monster. Did you talk to him? Once, at the end of the semester, she wiped her eyes. I stayed after class and I asked if he remembered. 2 girls, Pine Ridge Trail, 8 years ago. My heart hammered. What did he say? He said, yes, he remembered. He said he'd been looking for someone that day, someone who'd gotten lost. I forced myself to replay it again, every detail. The side path we'd taken, the fallen log where he'd been crouching, his expression when he saw us, not predatory, but startled, almost relieved. You shouldn't be this far off the trail. And then Emma had grabbed me and we'd run, and he'd followed because we were going the wrong way. We'd been running deeper into the forest, not back toward the main trail. In our panic, we'd gotten completely turned around. If he hadn't followed us, if he hadn't tried to call us back, there's a ravine, I whispered. Emma looked at me. What? That's what he was trying to say. It's not safe. There's a ravine. We were running straight toward it. Miss Reeves gave me access to Mr. Chen's volunteer files after I explained, vaguely, that I thought I might have crossed paths with him years ago. The records were meticulous. Dates, locations, weather conditions, groups supervised. And then 8 years back, I found it. June 14th, Pine Ridge Trail, emergency situation. The entry was longer than the others, written in tight, hurried handwriting. Called to search for missing 7-year-old Alex Brennan, reported lost by parents at 2 p.m. Found evidence of child passage on unmarked side trail heading toward Ravine Point. During search, encountered 2 young girls, approximate ages 10 and 13, heading in the same direction, clearly lost. Attempted to redirect them, girls fled, likely frightened. Unable to follow, needed to continue search for Brennan child. Radioed ranger station, requested additional personnel to ensure girls found their way to parking lots safely. Girls emerged safely at 4:15 p.m., according to ranger report.
Brennan child located at 4:47 p.m., approximately 40 yards from ravine edge, unharmed but disoriented. Suspect the 2 girls may have unknowingly been following Brennan's trail deeper into danger zone. Recommend additional signage and trail markers for side paths. My hands shook. He'd been trying to save us, and we'd run from him, and he'd let us go because he had to keep searching for a missing child. A child who would have died if Mr. Chen had chased after us instead. There was a second photo in the file. Grainy, printed from a trail camera. It showed Mr. Chen crouching by that fallen log, and now I could see what he'd been doing. He'd been marking a tree with bright orange tape, a trail marker to guide the search party, and next to him, barely visible in the background, were two small figures, me and Emma. We'd walked right past him without realizing he was there to help. Someone had written on the back of the photo, "Always looking out for lost kids." That was David. I went to the memorial service. It was held in the school gymnasium, packed with former students, teachers, and families. I sat in the back with Emma, listening to people share stories about Mr. Chen's patience, his kindness, his obsessive dedication to keeping kids safe. A woman in her 20s stood up. "I'm Alex Brennan," she said. 17 years ago, I got lost in the Pine Ridge Forest when I was 7. Mr. Chen found me. He saved my life that day." My breath caught. Alex continued, her voice thick with emotion. "He never stopped checking on me after that. Every year he'd send a card on the anniversary, just to make sure I was okay, just to remind me that someone cared." Tears streamed down my face. After the service, I approached Alex, told her everything. The running, the fear, the misunderstanding. She listened, then smiled sadly. "He knew you were scared. He put it in his report, said he hoped one day you'd realize he wasn't a threat. That fear makes us run from the wrong things sometimes." She touched my arm. "He would have forgiven you. He probably already did." Emma and I went back to Pine Ridge Trail the following weekend. We found the spot where we'd run from him. The ravine was still there, 50 yards past where we had fled, a 30-foot drop onto jagged rocks. Without the orange tape markers Mr. Chen had been placing, we might have run right over the edge. "He saved our lives," Emma whispered. "And we didn't even know it." I crouched down and placed a small bouquet of wildflowers on the trail marker post. Someone, probably the Forest Service, had added a plaque. "In memory of David Chen, who spent his life making sure lost children found their way home." We stayed there for a long time, Emma's hand in mine, like it had been that day. But this time, we weren't running from anything. We were finally standing still long enough to understand. They say childhood memories are unreliable, that fear distorts them, reshapes them into monsters that don't exist. But sometimes, the opposite is true. Sometimes we're so busy running from shadows that we don't see the person trying to guide us toward the light. Mr. Chen spent his life looking for lost children. In the end, I think Emma and I were just two more kids he never stopped trying to save. Even after we'd vanished into the woods, even after years had passed, even after we'd forgotten to say thank you. I visit his memorial every month now, and every time I whisper the words I should have said when I was 10 years old, when I was too frightened to see clearly. Thank you for not giving up on us. Thank you for letting us run. Thank you for saving us anyway. Some mysteries don't haunt us. They simply wait for us to grow old enough to understand them.